Please welcome to the Slip and Dip podcast, making her Slip and Dip debut. Some people say she's a future UFC champion. We know she's a hell of a fighter, Miss Tatiana Suarez. Thanks for coming to the show. You're hard lady to catch that. We're glad to have you on. Thanks for your time.
No, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
This is a random question. How tall are you? Because I've seen you in person. You look you're about 5'8", but I've seen you listed at 5'5". You look way taller than what they got you listed.
This is like, I wish I could put this like on a, you know how they do the polls, like the polls for like, oh, what do you think how tall I am? I feel like I should do one of those. But I'm only 5'5", and that's on a good day. Like I remember one time I went to the doctors and they're like, oh, you're 5'4" and like a half. And I was like, what? I'm 5'5", and I was like so upset. I was like, no, because you know, like in this game, I don't know. I feel like I want to be a little bit taller. You know, I'm not the tallest one on the roster, but I like to be, you know, a little bit longer, so that you know I have like the leverage and stuff, a better leverage and stuff. But that's always not the case, you know. Sometimes people are built differently, so I appear taller because I have like you know the swimmer shoulders. Like I have pretty broad shoulders, so like I feel like it makes me look like appear like taller, kind of like John Jones. Like I know he's really tall, but I'm sure he looks even taller because he has like these really broad shoulders. So that's like where you know where it gets me. Like everybody's like, oh my god, how much does she weigh? Like 160? I'm like, what the heck? Like, see in my life.
It's crazy seeing like we've had highly regarded coaches, and the common thing when they talk about you is future champion. Do you feel the pressure, the fact you got people that just respect your work, that already, I won't say anointing you, but already looking at you as a future champion like that in this sport that's so young? And with you being so young, like you could come in and dominate for a good 3-4 years.
Yeah, I don't feel any pressure at all. You know, I just kind of like focus and, you know, I do this because I love it, and it's something that's like it's like I love competition. I love competing. I've been doing it since I was 3 years old. So, you know, competition is something like I feed off of, and I need it. You know, like at first I wasn't intending to like do fighting. I was just gonna do jujitsu, and I was gonna try to be the best in jujitsu. But ended up, you know, I was like, well, you know, I think I can get paid a little bit more for fighting, so let's go that route. You know, so and plus, like I fell in love with the fact, you know, of like putting it all together and the art behind it. And so now I just I do it because I love it, and you know I don't feel any type of pressure. I think I put the most pressure on myself. You know, my coaches, you know, they're like, oh man, you're on fire today, and I'm like, what? Like I feel like, you know, like I'm not there, you know, I'm not feeling the greatest, you know, so I feel like but you know what, I get that a lot from my mom. My mom really pushed me when I was younger.
Kind of like what Kendrick was saying, you know, about how like everybody's already talking about you being a champion, and it seems like because, you know, seeing you after your fight in Dallas, it was just like you seem to be like still so humble about it. Like you're just like, oh, thanks guys. Like, you know, it's like you're not taking it as like it's like any extra weight on your shoulders. Like everybody's giving you the female Khabib comparisons and all that stuff. Like, which I agree with, because there's nobody else just going out there and doing those things to Carla Esparza like you did, you know.
And getting people up out of there 6 out of 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I'm not like, I'm very like humble, like, and it's so funny because like some people just don't, you know, they don't like me, or I leave a bad taste in their mouth, and I'm like, you've never met me. Like I'm really nice, I'm really kind, and I'm very humble, and I'm like, okay, and you know, I don't even care about those people. I'm like, okay, if you knew me, you would feel a lot differently, you know, because I'm like a really nice person. I've never, you know, I'm like the only person probably in my weight class that like follows all the girls at her weight class. Like I follow everybody at my weight class. I'll give them compliments, you know, I'll tell them good job. I'll tell them they're pretty. Like, I don't even care. Like, you know, I'm just like, this is a sport to me. And, you know, I don't have to be mean to somebody to like go and, you know, fight them in the end. You know, I treat all these girls with respect, and because they deserve it. You know, they all work hard and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm just here to, you know, do something that I love, and I believe in myself. You know, I think that's the competitive drive in me. I think, you know, I think I'm better than them, and that's because, you know, I have to believe those things. Like that's me, you know, like those are things I have to believe in. I see it every day, and I can't fathom, you know, anybody keeping up with me. So, Because I do so well, like at practice and stuff, and I'm like, man, no one could beat me, like I don't know. I think that's how, like every athlete feels that way about themselves, So I mean, who's like, oh, you know what? I think I'm gonna lose tomorrow. Like what the?
Yeah, there's definitely in the sport to do that if you had that mentality, for sure.
Yeah, like you don't see LeBron like, you know what? I'm gonna go in there. And I might try to, score a basket or two, like,
on that,
you've been watching the last 2 weeks, have you?
Yeah, it depends on who you ask on that one.
You haven't been watching the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. But yeah, so you mentioned there talking about, paying attention to all the other girls in your division. So let's talk about one in particular. You got UFC 238, Miss Nina Ansaroff. So what do you see when you look at her as an opponent?
I see a game opponent. She has that good jab. She has good footwork. She has that good low kick. I mean, she has a lot of things. I think people are overlooking her in terms of, an opponent. And she's, she gets to the ground and she tries to find a way to get up, and I've seen her, get stuck on the ground a couple times as well. So that's definitely something, I'm like keeping in the back of my mind. Every fight for me is so different. It's just so difficult because this sport is so hard, guys. It's so hard. It's like, man, like I have to mix wrestling, striking, jiu-jitsu and ground and pound. Like this is a tough sport. It's like people just don't understand the technicalities behind it all. Like they just think, oh, why don't she just get up? I mean, what? Come on, you don't think she thought of that? I'm like, come on, guys, use your brain here. And but I'm like, man, it's such a tough sport because it's like, one day I'm like working on my jiu-jitsu, but it's hard to do jiu-jitsu and ground and pound at the same time and try to keep control of somebody that wants to get up, and putting all my force into these ground and pounds. I'm like, okay, I know that she'll get up, but I also want to do some damage, to bump, make this girl's face, rearrange it a little bit. But I'm like,
you are a fighter after all. You are a fighter.
Yeah, so it's just a tough sport, and it's just really difficult, to put it all together. And one fight you'll see me try to go for more submissions, and another fight you'll see me do a lot more ground and pound. Like my last fight with Carla, we really focused on our ground and pound that fight. The whole camp we focused on the ground and pound. My coach is like, what, I really want you to lump her up and this and that. I'm like, okay, it sounds good to me. I like that. I like the sound of that. And plus, I want people to fear that ground and pound because they're not like, oh, she's just not going to just try to choke me out. She's going to try to also pummel my face, which is, scary when you want to go in there with somebody like, man, she wants to beat me up and she wants to choke me out. She wants to take me down and slam me or whatever, whatever it may be. But I just want to show everybody that I'm, well-rounded. The only thing I really haven't been able to show is really my stand-up, and that's because, no one's forced me to. And I'm like, why should I, take unnecessary damage when I can just do what I'm doing and, have huge success and dominate all these people? I mean, you don't see Joanna Jędrzejczyk saying, oh, I want to show off my wrestling and, jiu-jitsu. When have you ever seen her say that?
Never.
Never.
Nobody. When have you ever seen her take a shot? I mean, come on, guys. Like, they're like, there's never like people get so upset about it. I'm like, come on, you'll see Joanna Jędrzejczyk saying, oh, I want to show off my double leg today. Come on.
And here's another thing I throw out to you. A lot of people want to see you fight her, and she's very similar to you. She's a lady. I'm friends with her behind the scenes. Very nice, but people she has a bad rep because people have a perception of her like you, Miss Cynthia Calvillo.
Cynthia?
Yeah.
I don't have a bad nothing towards.
No, not you. No, I'm talking about a lot of people. She always says a lot of people think she's one way when she's completely the opposite. They see her, they don't know her, but a lot of people want y'all to see y'all fight. Like they're putting that as a future, like number one contender fight or something like that in the works.
Contender fight? I don't know about that one.
Yeah, because you're ranked. You and Nina are both ranked third.
Where's Nina? I know you're top three, right? You're third, right?
Third. They're both third
yeah,
right now.
So
they're both third. Oh, now I knew you were third. I didn't know about Nina.
Yeah, they pumped her up there.
And what do you think about the UFC where anybody can get a title fight just off one performance? As long as you're in the top 10, you can go from 9 to a title shot like that. So
Yeah,
it
yeah.
don't matter.
No, I don't, I wasn't like, okay, so this is the thing with me. The thing with me was I was trying to face, I didn't care at the time because when they called me, they're like, hey, we want you to fight Nina. And this was before Cynthia Calvillo. So I want to clear this up. This is way before Cynthia Calvillo had ever called me out. This was months. This was like right after Nina fought Claudia. They were like, this is the fight to make. We want you guys to be, the title contention fight or whatever. And I was like, man, when is she going to be able to fight? I've been ready. I've been since September. I've been ready. I started training the day after my fight, and they're like, oh, she won't be ready for maybe May. And I was like, oh, okay, well, damn. And then I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. And then they moved it to June, which I was like, you know what, that's fine. It'll give me some time to heal up some of my injuries or whatever that's been bothering me. And so when Cynthia Calvillo called me out, it wasn't really in my mind like, okay, this is who I'm going to fight, or, you know what I mean? I was like, I didn't really think about it. I was just like, I already know who I'm going to fight. It's going to be Nina because this is what they told me. Yeah. So I was just waiting to see what day that Nina wanted to fight. That's pretty much all I was waiting on. So, yeah, and I didn't care. I liked the matchup because I felt like it was a higher ranked opponent. And so, of course, I'm going to advocate for the number 3 ranked opponent as opposed to the number 11 ranked opponent because it's going to look better for me and try to get me, a title shot or whatever. So, of course, I wanted that matchup, which they already had told me was going to happen, So when she called me out, I was like, well, I'm not going to advocate for this matchup when I can have this matchup. But you know what? People are always going to say something like, if I would have went and fought Cynthia Calvillo, which everybody wants me to fight her now because I already have this other fight and they think Cynthia's better than Nina, they're going to all say, well, she only beat Nina. But then if I went and fought Cynthia and beat the heck out of her, everybody would have been like, oh, well, she's only number 11, so she doesn't deserve a title shot now. And I'm like, okay, well, you guys, I can't make you guys happy, it doesn't matter. So everybody's going to say something.
When you say that Cynthia's top 10, though, because only she dropped out is because of the whole PED thing. Because I would say she's probably a 7 or so. 7, top 5 on that fringe.
Right. Yeah. See, that's the thing. Like, I didn't care what ranking she, what ranking she is. I told everybody I'd fight whoever, they gave me, but they already gave me somebody. But like I said, if I would have went and fought Cynthia and I would have beat her decisively and dominantly, they would have been like, well, you only beat Cynthia, who's number 7, who lost to Carla. And they just make so basically, it's like, in the UFC's mind, they're going to be like, okay, well, what's next for Tatiana? They'll probably make me fight another person, which I don't care. I don't really care, I know that basically that belt being around my waist is inevitable and it's going to happen, whether people like it or not. So
the female Khabib has spoken.
Yeah,
the female Khabib has spoken, man.
Absolutely. That's what everybody thinks, and you're only 28, right?
Yeah, I'm 28.
So yeah, you got a lot of time left in the game, and
about 5 years.
Do you plan on getting that strap by the end of the year?
Yeah, that's the plan. I know that Michelle Watterson is advocating for herself, but you know what? It was known to me that they asked me if I would fight her. I said yes. Came back. She didn't want to do that fight. And now she's advocating for a title fight when she beat Carolina, who's coming off a KO loss. And I'm like, okay, that's my thing. Okay.
Were you impressed by her last night?
You know what? She's, she does what she does, and I'm like, I have no clue. I have no clue. I have no opinion on that matter. I think I'm just a little bit upset because she didn't take the fight, and I was trying to fight, and I'm so upset. I was like, what? And then they come back a couple weeks later. Oh, she's gonna fight KK. I was like, what the heck? Come on.
Yeah, I think that honestly that matchup, if that were to happen, I think it would look a lot like the Carla fight for me, because she's good with getting that head and arm throw. She gets that every single fight. But I think that's right in your wheelhouse.
So you did watch it. She's like, not me. I can tell by your face. She's like, not me.
Yeah, you are good.
Yeah.
No, I saw that literally before she threw it, I was like, she's going to throw her in the head. And like literally almost 20 seconds before it happened. And my boyfriend was like, what the hell? And I was like, she does it every fight. And I just know because I've been wrestling for so long, you know. So, I mean, I do that throw myself sometimes if I need to, you know, but mostly I attack the legs, you know. But, you know, it's really funny because there's a couple times like there would be girls with like super strong legs. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to mess with this girl's legs. So I'll go upper body with these girls, you know, and then all of a sudden they're like lost and like they're getting, you know, lifted with a body lock or something, you know. So I have a lot of attacks, you know. I was wrestling this guy today and he's like around like 170 and he's like, man, and he wrestles, you know, he's like, man, you are really good, you know. He's like, he's like, people just don't understand how good you are in wrestling. And I was like, yeah, you know, I've been doing it for so long and I love it. It's something like I just love to do, you know, just like these girls love to do, you know, all this other stuff. And like, I'm the same way with striking, you know, most of the time, all I do is strike, you know. I'll go through whole practices without wrestling at all. Unless it's like, you know, MMA sparring and I know I have to do it because I need to do it in my fights and I need to push that pace because wrestling cardio is completely different from striking cardio. So I definitely have to practice it and, you know, make sure that I'm up to par on that because wrestling's exhausting.
Is there anybody you think that can remotely give you a run for your money on the mat? In the division, you think anybody can remotely hang with you grappling, or you literally
the head shake?
Are you the female Habib? Anytime, anywhere.
Yeah, you know, I don't feel that way at all. You know, I think the only person that could have, you know, really gave me some problems in terms of the grappling would probably be Mackenzie Dern, and you know, jiu-jitsu is different when you're getting hit. It's a lot different, you know.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I feel. You know, you'll see guys that, you know, are maybe blue, purple belts, you know, beating up black belts, you know. So, I mean, just MMA is so different. That's what I'm saying. It's so difficult. You know, people can say, oh, well, if it went to the mat, Mackenzie would have murked her, or blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm like, well, you know, things are a lot different when you're getting punched and stuff. So it's just a lot, you know, I love jiu-jitsu and I do it all the time, you know, but, you know, I think people underestimate that part of my game as well. You know, I have that in my back pocket, you know. Now I'm doing a lot more ground and pound, but it's definitely in my back pocket. I think, you know, that a lot of girls are good at jiu-jitsu. I know Michelle's pretty good on the ground. You know, Cynthia's good on the ground. You know, I think I never go into a fight thinking, oh, I'm going to just like, this girl's no good. She doesn't even belong here with me. You know, I don't think those things. I think, oh, this girl worked hard. She wants to kick my butt and, you know, she wants to tear my head off and I go in there accordingly, you know. And I think, okay, well, that's why I work so hard, you know. I work really hard because I know these girls want to take it from me and, you know, I don't want that to happen. You know, I want to win just like they do, you know. So but yeah, but they're all great, you know. I think the strawweight division's freaking stacked, and people just, you know, they don't realize how great of a division it really is. I mean, if you look at the top 10 girls, they're all like, you know, can present really a lot of problems for anybody, you know. So
yeah. So do you have any aspirations of moving up to flyweight? You know, after you get that strap and do the hot thing in MMA right now is being that double champ. So
yeah, follow that trend. You know, I want to follow that trend.
Hey, follow that trend, get that more money.
Everybody's like, "Oh, that's over. Like that's so overrated now." I'm like, "How is that overrated?" You know, they're like, that's like so silly. Like, what you can't try to challenge yourself, you know. I'm like, oh, I just want to be here to not challenge myself, you know.
I get it when it makes sense, but like when guys go down like TJ did, like, I mean, I think the bigger challenge is moving up in weight, not moving down in weight.
Oh, that's true.
I have no choice.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you only got one way.
Tatiana, I always tell people when somebody say that, like my co-host over here, that's overrated. If it was that easy, everybody be doing it, right? If it was that easy.
Right.
Everybody be doing it, right? You have more. You wouldn't be able to count it on one hand.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a fat guy. The facts don't lie. Facts don't lie.
I'm a fat guy. Fact guy. That sounds weird. Fact guy.
Yeah.
FACT.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely something I've already expressed that. So you already know that because you were there when I said it.
I know. I'm just double checking. I just want to make sure you didn't change your mind. You know?
I was like, I want to be like DC. I want to be Chep Chep.
I think I may have asked you that question actually. I don't. I was just making sure you still had that same aspiration. Had
Yeah.
that same goal.
Did she got the same intensity?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it was the same way. It was the same way then. It was just like, yeah, like nobody's gonna touch me.
Tatiana, what's up? What's up? You want people to know about you? Because for you to be this rising star, people really don't know that much about you. You real like you come like Ninja Lady. You get your tap and your submission, and you go up out that cage. We will see you for a few months. So, what is Tatiana Suarez outside the cage that we don't know? You definitely got a sense of humor. You seem like you hang out with a lot of guys. You watch a lot of sports.
Yeah, I watch sports, but mostly just MMA and boxing and Muay Thai and wrestling. I follow all those things on Instagram.
WWE wrestling or real wrestling?
No, real wrestling.
Who's your favorite? Who's your top 3 favorite boxers? We went to the Errol Spence fight 2 weeks ago.
Oh, my favorite boxers, definitely Triple G, Lomachenko. I like the guy that Lomachenko is gonna fight. That I think Kroll.
That's gonna be a good fight.
Yeah, Kroll. I think he's a great boxer. Obviously, Canelo. There's this guy that just fought Mikey Garcia the other day. I forgot. Okay, that's him. Yeah,
That's Dallas finest.
Yeah, I was like, man, this guy's good, and I thought, I felt bad for Mikey. I was like, why did he go up? Right? He went up a division or something.
He dared to be great, as he said for the lead up to the fight. He dared to be great.
That's that's cool. I mean, at least he put himself out there. You'll never know unless you try. It's like one of those things. Like, okay, yeah. Like if you don't try to do something, it's like we might miss out on the opportunity. Like right now, Max Holloway, people could say if he goes out there and loses, like, oh, he's not the greatest of all time now or whatever. But if he does, and he's like, I'm the double greatest of all time, so for him, it's like what, it's one of those things where he'll still be a champion in his division, so regardless, I think, man, I'll always be a Max Holloway fan, and it doesn't really matter to me. He could lose like 10 in a row. I'm still going to be his fan.
My co-host pointed out to me, I see your Twitter timeline, when there's different fights, that's what you engage with a lot of fans and stuff, because it's like you're a pure fan, taking what you do for a living out of it. It's like you like us, you watching the fights and seeing who's got their game and mental game and all that stuff. You get a lot of fan interaction doing that?
Yeah, I do. But I don't really do it to like, really to per se to like really interact, but I just like going on there and expressing how I feel about the fights. Really, I don't even really care about who comments, because usually 90% of the people are stupid. So
facts.
I'm like I'll say something and they'll be like, oh, but you only fought this person. I'm like, I don't care what you are talking about. Like, I just don't care. I'm like, I care about fighting. That's all I care about. I'm only here as a fan. I don't care what you have to say. You could be mad at me. You could whatever. But I'm always so respectful to all the fighters. Like, I'll be like, someone will get knocked out, and I'll be like, oh, that's a great KO. And I'm like, I hope the other guy recovers well. Because, I felt bad. Like, honestly, it sounds weird for me to say this, but like when I watch fights, I'm not good. Like, I'll be like, someone will be getting like beat up, and I'm like, I can't watch. And they're like, what? You fight? Like, you do that to people. And I'm like, I know, but it's so sad.
That's not something you do with Carla, right?
Yeah, like people were like, oh, it was kind of becoming sad. Like, it was hard to watch. I was like, really? But, I don't know that because I'm just doing it, and like, I just go into like my own zone and I kind of zone out. But when I'm watching someone actually do it, like if it's live, it's horrible. I hate watching fights live. I don't know why I do this to myself every time too. Because if it's like a bad fight, I'm like, oh my God, I can't. Like when Aljamain got knocked out, I was like, I almost cried. I was so sad. I was like, that's so sad. Like, he's not getting up. And I was like crying. Yeah. I might have shed a tear.
That's
That's so funny. That's so wild. I mean, I don't think I've ever heard that from a fighter before. That's crazy.
So the fighter Tatiana wants to rearrange people's faces. Tatiana, the woman, she ain't about that life.
No, I could watch it on TV just fine, but sometimes like I was watching the girl Rodriguez versus Aguilar, and that was like if I saw that live, I would have lost it. I was like, oh my god, like her face, like every time she got hit, I was like, please just stop it, like throw in that towel.
Yeah.
No one else feel that way.
No, there's definitely fights like that happen when it's like, okay, like
stop the damn fight.
You start to feel uncomfortable a little bit. Like, prime example for me, like, I mean, I think it's still the greatest fight ever, but Robbie Lawler against Roy McDonald, like, there became a point in like that fourth round where I was like, dude, this is getting too much. Like, I know Rory is still in this, and then when he finally, like, his body just like almost gave out on him, like, I was like, holy shit, is he okay? Like, that was my reaction. So
I think it was because his nose was so badly beaten. Yeah. Because I heard his nose is still not the same till this day.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, I can understand that. Or like one fight I can tell you I watched live, but it wasn't really a bloody fight, but it was like a fight where like the guy kept getting knocked down, and I like the guy is Robert Whittaker versus Yoel.
Yes.
Man. And then another time I saw Muhammad fight somebody. Bilal Muhammad.
Yeah.
And he got beat by somebody badly. Was it Jeff Neal? Was
that Neal, yeah, another friend of the show. Yeah,
we met them up on the show.
Is that who he fought? Like he beat him up?
Yeah, he kept getting dropped, but Bilal's just tough as nails. But it was just he couldn't do anything. My
boyfriend was like, "There is no bitch in that man."
Exactly.
I was like, dang, like he would not stop. And Robert Whittaker was the same. Like he kept getting knocked down, and I was like, oh my god, his brain. Like I was like, I was checked out. I was like, tell me when it's over.
Would you ever fight Joanna or Claudia?
Would I fight them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I told them before, like I would fight. I wanted to fight Joanna. Because it would have been a good, win for me. A good, a good.
You trying to all the former champions on your resume.
A good, I wanted it to be a good case, for the title shot. I was like, if I beat her up, it'll be a good, good win for me, and they'll definitely be like, she deserves a title shot. But they ended up giving me Nina because I think Joanna's out like traveling or something and doing, I don't know what she's doing, to be honest. It looks like she's just traveling and like enjoying her life.
Yeah.
Really.
I think she's on the way out. I think she got maybe 2 more fights because people forget when she had the belt, she said, I'm not going to be doing this for that much longer. So it's kind of crazy. A year and a half later, people's like, she don't look like she want to fight. She told you a year and a half ago she just lost the belt. What was going to happen? It's like they didn't listen to her.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can understand. Like, I mean, this body is this sport is demanding on your body and your not only just your body but your mental. It's like it's kind of mentally draining. And I think when you're a little bit old, like you're a little older. I don't know how old is she? Is she around 30 or 20?
31. Okay,
so she's 31. Yeah. When you start getting to that age, you've been doing it for. I'm pretty sure she's been doing Muay Thai for a long time.
Yes.
And it's very taxing, it's very taxing on your body and your mind. And you obviously want to maybe leave the sport while you still have brain cells, and she's been in some wars, so.
Honestly, I think you'll be next in line. Let's say you go out there and get this win over Nina because, I mean, you got Andrade and Rose coming up. And then you'd be next in line, I think, because Joanna, she's already fighting at 125. So I don't see her making that cut because considering she is already on the way out, so to speak. So.
It's weird that you say that because, like, I remember seeing an article saying she was going to go down again.
Oh, really?
Did you talk to her, Claudia? Who was your coach? Wasn't it Joanna?
Claudia was my coach, yeah.
Do you keep in touch with either one of them?
Like I said, like, I talk to all the girls in my division. Like, I'll talk to Claudia. I talk to Tisha. I talk to Cynthia. I talk to, who else do I talk to? So like sometimes I don't know Paige like personally, but I'll comment, on her stuff or whatever. Like, you look great in this bikini that's half on.
I'm definitely not trying to retire you. But how long do you think you can do this? Since you put it, because I'm pretty sure it's a little bit different for a lady. Because I keep telling everybody, like around 32, 33 is that cutoff for ladies, and nobody wants to see nothing because you don't see ladies fighting at 37, 38. And then also too, I know you're a fan of the sport. If you notice, when ladies get to be early 30s, is when you see shit that never happened to them. Look what happened to Ioana. Look what happened to Ronda. Look what happened to Misha. Look what happened to Cyborg. All early 30s. With the sport being so young, there's not enough data out there. But there seems like to be like an expiration date when Father Tom comes tapping on that shoulder, and they always happen to be in the early 30s. I'm just putting the facts out there yet again.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily about the age. I think it's more about, this sport is so new, especially women's MMA. So I think what happened to Ronda was when she got into the game, the sport was so new. So she was able to run through these girls that weren't necessarily, how would you say,
on an athletic level.
In her level of athleticism.
Yes.
And she was able to use her years of judo that she's been doing since 5 years old or 8, or I don't know how long she had done it for, but since a really young age, and she basically was more athletic, and so she was able to do whatever she wanted to do to these girls and implement her game. But it was when somebody was just as athletic as her in a different region and was able to, end up getting the win. And, I think, she didn't face a lot of challenges in her career. So I think when she started to face some challenges, it was really difficult for her to adjust.
Yes, 100%.
Would you be in her story in the sport, would you say Amanda Nunes, I like to call her the GOAT, the greatest woman of all time. We are talking about the GOATs. Would you call her the GOAT if she beats Holly? Because what else does she need to do? She did everything. Every champion, 125, 135, and 145. She would have officially took their ass out.
Did she? Did she already fight Holly?
No, she's fighting Holly next. Yeah, Holly's the next victim.
Yeah, but she's never fought her before?
No, if she beats Holly, she would clear out the whole 125, 135, and 145 champions. And she's knocked out the 135s and the 145.
Oh, you mean because she beat
Cyborg, Ronda, and Misha, and she stopped them all in the first round.
And Valentina.
Oh, that's right.
And Jermaine Geronimi. If you want to go, all the way back. Even Jermaine, she knocked out Jermaine.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm impressed by her. I'm a big fan of hers, actually. So it's gonna be weird when what's really weird is me and Nina fought on the same card. I remember when we went to the retreat and everything. Like, I was cool with Nina. We sat together, we ate, me and her and Amanda. I'm like, I might fight this girl, but I just do not care. I'm like, that's fine. I'm like I said, I'm just really nice to everybody. I will I will hug you after my fight. I don't care. I will hug you before my fight.
Just all business, right? Just all business.
Yeah, I'm like a very nice person, but this is my job.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
What is that? A retreat with Simon.
Oh, no, what are you asking?
Tell us about that retreat with the whole Cyborg. That was like the funniest audio of 2017. You don't respect nobody? Fuck you. Boo, 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 boo. So it had to be funny in person. Because it was just funny looking at that little 17 minutes of audio, was just hilarious.
I didn't see it. I walked out right after, and all of a sudden, people were all over the place. And I'm like, what's going on out here? And they're like, Cyborg just punched this girl in the face. I was like, for free?
For free. For free. She hit her with the for free. Oh my God.
I was like, what? Oh, dang. I was like, all right, cool. I
was about to accent. You don't respect nobody? I was cracking up on that for the longest. I had never met her then. I met her a couple of times. She's a very, very, it's like her persona does not match the real nice lady that she is. It trips me out.
She's really nice. I hear she's really nice, and she always she'll message me a couple of things sometimes, or stuff like that. I'm like, that's why it's so weird. I comment on girls their Instagram. I'll be like, oh, you look good, or you look pretty, or whatever. And then if I go on a guy's thing, I'm like, oh, good job. The guys are like, she likes you. She wants to be with you. I'm like, what? Like this. I'm like, I can't compliment a guy. Like I have to want him to like compliment him. I'm like, okay, like this is just awkward.
Can't do that in social media. Can't do it.
I know. Like that's why I don't like. I like, you know, I think Brian Ortega is like a great fighter and stuff like that. But I never comment on any of his stuff because like.
Y'all both in Cali too. You may have some problems at home on that one.
Fans are like out of control. Like they're like, oh my god, they're gonna get married, and like I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I said hi, good job. I was like, I didn't say hi, but I was like, good job or something, you know?
Everybody's quick to call somebody thirsty on the internet these days.
I know, it's so weird and awkward. I'm like, okay, I feel weird. I'm leaving now.
Right?
I'm leaving.
You gotta keep it. Everyone, good fight. Congratulations. That's it. No emojis, nothing.
Sometimes I'm just like this.
Right, exactly. Yeah, leave no doubt.
So are you in full training camp mode for Nina now?
I haven't started officially yet, but I've been training since, you know, my last fight. Like literally, like the Monday after I fought, I've been training nonstop. I had a little bit of vacation for a week, and then I came back. I went to Costa Rica.
Cool.
Yeah, it was my boyfriend's birthday, so I took him to Costa Rica for his birthday, and we hung out there, had fun, and then we came back. But we trained there. It was so fun. Like we were training, we were doing stuff. Like I remember we ran in the rain. That was dope.
You were trying to get that man to change your last name.
Huh?
You were trying to get that man to change your last name. Take your brothers to Costa Rica. I said, you're full of you guys that don't think you're a keeper after that one.
Oh my god!
This is why you need to change my last name.
I don't feel like any different. Like I feel like we're already, you know, living together and stuff. I'm like, if I change my last, if we get married, there's not really like much difference on paper.
Right, exactly. I get that. It's like me and my fiance, we've been engaged for like 5 years, and everybody's like, "When are y'all actually getting married?" We're like, we're already married. Like, exactly, it's a piece of paper. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, they're like, guess what, guys? Look at this. This is official.
Exactly.
It's official. I'm like,
we're just gonna make a mock one. We're just gonna print one out and be like, "Hey, we did it." Everybody will show up.
Oh, wow. Don't give her no ideas. Look at her.
I know. I'm like,
Gotta think.
How's it with being a talented and a pretty face of the lady? I mean, pretty face in the sport. That people don't look at you as a sex object. Like you got fans. Like when you with your boyfriend, you got those guy fans that be kind of like, "Whoa!" It's like I'm with my guy. Chill the hell out. Have you had any incidences like that?
I've had it, but he's really good with it. He's just like, like I understand it. And I'm like, whoa, buddy. Like, I'm one of those people that like, if it's like really weird, I'll be like, hey, you're being weird, you know? But like,
yeah,
she's calling out.
Of course.
Like if it's on Instagram, I just ignore it. You know, I'm just like, okay, you can say whatever you want, but you know, and then they'll be like, why aren't you responding? I'm like, cause you're being a creep, you know? I'm like, yeah. Simple. But yeah, and I don't really seek that attention. Like if you look at like my Instagram or whatever, like you don't see me, not to put like anybody else down, but like you won't see like half naked pictures of me, you know, on my Instagram. So I don't really like try to get that attention for myself, you know. It's like mostly everything's like just fighting and pretty much that's it. And then like even like I like to do my weightlifting like without my shoes because it's like good to have that connection with your feet. Yes. And people started getting weird about my feet. Wow. They're like, please send me pictures of your feet. Oh God, like, and I was like,
wow.
I was like, this is just weird. Like, I don't even know what to say. And I was like, I don't even need to put like half naked pictures. I just have to put my feet up there. Would you
go more into the I call it the model, the movie star side? Once you get the belt, assuming you get the belt the next year or so, would you go into that side to expand your fan base and kind of be a crossover star? Or you talk about it's all about fighting, smiling at people, and then whooping their ass a few months later?
What was the question?
I said, are you worried about? Are you worried about being a crossover star, doing like the modeling and all that stuff? You get the belt or so, or you gonna stay doing what you do, smiling in people's faces, being cool with them, and then whooping their ass 8 months later?
I mean, I won't be a very good actor, but I'm sure I could do it with some practice. And I don't know about the pictures. I mean, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure you've been asked multiple times by UFC people. I'm pretty sure UFC people behind the scenes be like, "Come on, it'll help you get more followers and all that craziness." No,
they don't. They don't ever like. They don't care. They don't really say anything. That's probably why I have like the least followers out of everybody. I'm like, no, I'm not going towards that way. But I don't really care about that kind of stuff. I'm really just about, in wrestling, we don't go and like do those things, you just kind of like take care of your business, and your work really shows and speaks for itself. And you know what? I feel like when you start doing those things, yeah, you might get a lot of followers, but then a lot of those people are just like not even really, fans of yours. They're just like people that are just waiting for you to post a naked picture, Yeah. I'm like, this guy doesn't really respect me or want to see my fighting, or he doesn't care how I do, and and when I'm done fighting, he's probably will never follow me again. He'll probably unfollow me or whatever. But I feel like the people that do follow me, they really just like follow me because they think I'm a great fighter, and they like me. So I think that's when, I have true followers and fans, when I keep it real,
100%.
Smile on your face and whoop your ass 8 months later.
Yeah. Exactly.
Recently, I started getting like usually when people say negative things on the internet, like I don't really ever say anything, but like yesterday I started like hitting back, and they're like, "What? Oh my God, Tatiana is feisty today." I was like, "Yeah, that's what's up." Like, no, I called some guy. Like, I told him he what did I say? I said that he, what was it? I said that he resembled a small, fragile old woman, because he was like talking smack, like saying that like girls are like men because they fight or something, and I was like,
dang.
Well, of course you would feel threatened because you resemble a small, fragile woman. A small, old woman. And he laughed, but I was just like, don't talk shit.
Exactly.
Be like Eric Andrews, giving your address to your gym, and tell them when you'll be there. That's what some of the male fighters tell us.
Sometimes I do that. I did that today. I'll ankle pick you, and I was like, we're wrestling today. You want to come on over? And you never replied. He just put a like. He liked it.
Exactly. Exactly. Everybody's all big and bad on social media.
I know, it's so funny. I don't even care anymore. I'm like, screw it. Yesterday was my fun, and today I'm going to be normal again. I'm not going to comment on anything that anybody says, really, unless it's like positive, and then I'll say something nice, back or something. But normally I don't even respond to negativity.
That's the way to do it. That's for the best.
It fuels them. They're like, oh my God, you responded. I'm going to argue with this star. And I'm like, oh God.
I mean, that's also kind of the point of social media, though. Like, you're supposed to be able to interact. And it's like, I get the whole point where people are like, oh, you shouldn't waste your time with these people. At the same time, these people shouldn't feel like they just have the right to attack you without any repercussions. So, like, when you clap back at them, like, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
That's just me.
I do it sometimes, but sometimes I'm like, it's not even worth it. They'll just be like, you're going to get killed. I'm like, okay. Yeah. What am I going to say to that? I'm like, there's nothing to that. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah. Why don't you say, just check my highlights. That's all you ought to say. YouTube me.
Well, some guy was like, oh, you're just out there getting, getting brain damage, and I'm over here using my brain cells. And I was like, have you not?
Do you watch my fights?
First of all, I was like, have you seen my fights? And second of all, you're using your brain cells to talk shit on social media.
Yeah.
That's not even like, I'm like, oh, wow, that's impressive.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I mean, every now and again, it's good to clap back, but if you're doing it all day, nah, that's not good. It's not a good look to sit there and do it all day.
That's just awkward,
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
Final question for me, Tatiana, before we let you out of here. Have you thought about the moment if you get your name called and new UFC strawweight champion? How that emotion? I remember how emotional you got when you got the tough finale. I mean, I talked to you backstage. You talked about your injuries and stuff to get there and being out the sport, and then not knowing if you want to do MMA. How emotional you think that would be, or is it one of those things like you kind of like waiting for that day and you don't even think about it because you just want it to be a freestyle moment in your life?
I think about it, but I don't think about how emotional it'll be. Like, I see people like cry and stuff like that. I don't really know how I'm going to be. I think I'll see when I get there, you know. Hopefully I don't cry because I hate crying. But you know, I think I was really emotional on the tough finale because she was just talking smack. And you know, like when people talk smack and you really show them what's up, it's like it makes you feel a lot better about everything. You know, you're like, okay, now I shut you up. Now I can go and you can go cry and your mascara can run down your face and I'm gonna be happy about it.
So I guess you're not sending Miss Cooper any Christmas cards, are you?
Oh, we're friends on social media, but I was like, at that time, I was like not happy that she was like talking some smack, you know. I don't know if she was doing it to like make herself feel better about the matchup or make her, you know, maybe build the fight up. I don't know why she was doing it, but when people disrespect me, I don't really take it lightly.
Yeah, as you should. As you should.
Because like I'm very respectful, so I'm like, it's weird when people start being disrespectful to me for no reason. I'm like, okay. So,
well,
yeah.
There she is, guys. Miss Tatiana Suarez joining us on the Slip and Dip podcast. It's been, 48 minutes.
Future
rattling off.
Future, I knew.
I talk a lot. Like,
no, we love it.
I did an interview with, who did I do it with? I don't remember, somebody. And they were like, oh, well, she'd never stop talking. And I was like, I know. I'm really bad.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. It's better. Trust me, like, I would rather have this type of interview versus someone that literally, like, every answer is like...
Yes, no.
Yeah, I agree. Like, that's your answer? That's your answer to the question I just asked you? Are you serious right now?
Have you ever had, like, a conversation with her? Like, okay, I'm sure you have because you just said it. But, like... How awkward is it when, like, so I hate when that, like, when I'm trying to, like, get to know somebody or kind of talk to them or kind of, and they're just like, yeah. And you're like, I don't know. It's a weird feeling. Like, I'm like, okay, maybe if I ask them something else. And then I'm like, like, ask them this. And, like, it's, like, almost like a challenge to get them to, like me. And they're just, like, not having it. I'm like, okay, I failed.
100%. It happens all the time, especially backstage, like, when we're doing those little scrums backstage. Like, some fighters just don't talk whatsoever. And it's like, you've got, like, you know, anywhere from 8 to 10 guys back there behind these cameras. And we're all kind of, like, looking at each other out the side of their eyes, like, what are you going to ask? Because they're not answering anything. Like, so we're all trying to, like, pull questions out of thin air. And it's just, like, nothing's working. So it's like, okay, the scrum was like 2 minutes. It's like,
so you're like, oh, so what are you going to eat for your victory meal?
Yes. We start throwing out random crap. Like, give me something, please. Like, you know, and then just not.
Or Tatiana, you can break them down like you break those girls down on the ground with your ground game. Break them down like that with questions. Be like, okay, I'm a pass this right here. I'm a pull guard right here. I'm a step through, and I'm gonna get the answer.
That's funny. So how does that go? Like, so when it comes to like getting behind the scenes and like doing all the interviews, like how do you guys go about that?
Well, you gotta, you know, attach yourself with an outlet, like a media outlet. Like I used to run MMA Latest News, and then they shut down, and now they're back, and I'm with Fansided now. Kendrick's with a bunch of different outlets as well, and so it's just, you know, we get credentialed, we go back there, talk to you guys. And, you know, write up articles and all that good stuff like that, you know.
So you're saying there's a chance I could do that?
Of course you could. Of course you could.
What you try to do any on camera stuff? Like I know you see all the fighters commentating with the new ESPN deals. That didn't interest you?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I stumble on my words and stuff like that, but for the most part, I'm pretty good. I think I just gotta practice. Like the more I do interviews, the better I get. Yeah. And stuff like that, but sometimes when it's like a little bit rehearsed, I feel weird. Like I'm supposed to, like, I don't know, like when those questions, I'm like, like kind of weird, you know. If you try to get me to say something like a sentence, oh my god, I'm the worst. I'm not good at like I'll be like, watch me on UFC Espanolo.
It's funny. It's so funny because we have like little lines that we do for the audio side. No, we're not yet. Almost. But yeah, like some fighters will be like, they'll nail it in one take. Like you can tell they have some media training, like they're comfortable with that. We'll like give them a line, like, hey, can you say this for us? And they'll knock it out. And then other fighters, we got to be like, okay, say these 2 words, then the next 2 words, then the next 2, and I'll edit it all together. And then that's how we get it sometimes. That's just how it is.
That's definitely not me. It just takes me like maybe 2 or 3. And sometimes like I'll be like, I'll say it and then I'll be like, skip a word. I'm like, wait, how did I skip that word? I'm like, but if I freestyled it, I'd be fine. Like, come and watch me on ESPN Plus, blah, blah, June 8th.
UFC 238, it's going down in Chicago.
UFC 238 in Chi-Town.
Everybody better tune in because Tatiana's going to get the job done, right?
Be in my corner.
There it is. Tatiana, thank you so much for coming on the show. We greatly appreciate the time. We had a blast doing this.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.